And good morning. Kicking a Tuesday. Oh, yeah. Tax day. Gotta get those taxes off. All right. Yes. What do we got today? We got taxes. Yeah. Get your taxes taken care of. Make sure that's taken care of. Good morning. Welcome to Southern Fried Podcast and the Cornbread Nation, brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Make the switch today using promo code cornbread, and you will get a month of free service and working with a great American company, one that loves those same values that you have as a conservative, patriotic American. And you'll be helping the Southern Fried Podcast as well. Patriot Mobile, one of our 4 sponsors that we have, affiliate sponsors, and we appreciate them so much. Just came on board with them, and we're excited to be in the family. We talk to people all the time. They say, hey, I've been with Patriot Mobile for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. Love the company, and that's what you want to hear. It makes you feel good. And as well as Mammoth Nation, W Energy, and Podbean, which we are broadcasting live to this morning. Podbean audio site really helps us with our other audio sites. So anyway, glad to be here. Dave in the AM. Rob's not here on Tuesdays or Thursdays generally, although he's always welcome to pop in. But I don't anticipate him doing that, but who knows? It is a Tuesday morning as we broadcast live from the banks of the Southern Fried River, which flows lazily along. Not as cool this morning, although it is a little cooler, going to be a little cooler temperatures in our area of the world. It is not as cool this morning as I step out to walk to Studio A alongside the banks of the Southern Fried River, which, as I said, flows lazily along all the way south to Studio B, which is where Rob's at in South Georgia, which is where we will be come Friday evening into Saturday, early Sunday, as we attend the Mayhaw Festival in Colquitt, Georgia. Colquitt, Georgia. The Mayhaw, first festival that, well, it's not the first one that we've ever been to. It's the first one that we've ever been a paying vendor to be at. Not selling anything, although we can introduce people to our store. We're just introducing them to us. We're going to do a lot of broadcasting from that site. Looking forward to being in Colquitt again. It's been a few months. Back before Christmas, we were there. Had a good time. It's not a huge town, but it's a great area, great people, good family place, farming, lots of farming in the region. But a lot of good folks, and I like that down home, small town feeling that you get when you're in places like that. So it's great to be there. We'll look forward to seeing some of the people that we've seen before. We have seen, met with people there, and hopefully run into some people from the monkey facility resistance, the resistance movement. And yes, we hope to be a part, introduce ourselves again to some of those folks. It's been a while since we were there. We had to interview, hoping to also bump into people at Animal Rescue Alliance. We've got to get back busy doing our ads for them, which we just do as a matter of course. We just like to do it. And we've done interviews from there. We've highlighted animals many, many times and really enjoy the folks at ARA. You can help them. They are 501(c) that you can go online, go to ARA or Animal Rescue Alliance, Donaldsonville, Georgia, and see the pets and see how you can help. There's always a need. It's a no-kill shelter, and they do a great job there. And they depend on many volunteers and people who help. But they do a great job with placement of animals, dogs and cats into homes. They don't over collect so that they don't let the shelter get overloaded. They make sure what's there is responsibility. They have a program where they're placing animals in seniors' homes for a temporary basis. They still maintain the ownership and all responsibilities, but it helps the seniors with having some companionship, and it helps the animals to get into a home and be loved like that. So sometimes those develop into actual adoptions. But if not, they will spend some time there, have that attention, that special bonding, and as long as that person is able to do that. And it's great. It's great for them to have that relationship and association with a person like that. So ARA, Donaldsonville, Georgia. Well, the administration is still moving at breakneck speed. The president is still speaking out on some things. And yes, the opposition is rising up, such as Harvard University, which says we're not going to stand down. We're going to do what we do. You're not telling us. Well, you can do that, but you won't get the money or the grants that you were getting. So they're going to fight that, I'm sure, in court and see how they come out. The president has been taking on some of the Ivy League schools, Columbia and Princeton, Penn, different ones, and some of their anti-Semitism and other things that they have allowed to take place on campus. And Harvard says, not going to do it. Harvard says, we're going to do it our way. We're going to do what we want to do. Hello, South Oz, man. Good day to you. How you doing today, or this evening, probably for you, as we start our early day. You are now in the evening time there down under. But yeah, they said you're not going to tell us how to do it. So there's going to be a big fight. The president's been winning most of these fights. They're on solid ground to do what they do. Of course, their opposition's coming out and they're going to call him all sorts of names. But the president is saving money and finding fraud and, as I said, kicking butt and taking names. And they cannot like it, but he just says we're not going to fund those kinds of things. Report this morning that Trump is considering deep cuts to the State Department. And so looking for ways to save money there as well, cutting out some things, some budget cutting. Tough times. You have to learn how to deal with what you got. Some things get eliminated. Some programs in your own budget get eliminated when things are going on, when you're budget cutting. And they are looking at eliminating some things within the State Department. And so, again, looking at all those main departments, Department of Education and different ones, looking at cutting some funding. Some of it you might agree with, some of it you might not, but this is what they're proposing. Some of that will be cutting some funding to the United Nations, which I think is a great idea. Pardon me. United Nations, we have funded most of it, 75% of it, or thereabouts, somewhere in that vicinity, have we supported, as well as the property of which that sits upon. And a lot of those things have been against the United States of America. They badmouth us at the United Nations. The nations line up to badmouth the United States of America. They're inept. Every program just about that I could ever think of the United Nations has been a part of has been an inept program that has not functioned the way it's supposed to be. And they have become conduits, not for peace or peacekeeping, but have actually propagated the continuance of war or have assisted one side or the other, usually standing on the wrong side of history and supporting those things. The United Nations is full of inept and not good people. I don't support any organization that has on its round table of those nations that are the security for the world, that has nations on it that are war machines that just continue to propagate war, and yet they get a seat at the table to be able to decide who do they support a nation in war or not, because we know how they're going to vote. And some of the biggest ones have been placed there, and they're always going to vote what they want to see instead of voting for what's right. Very seldom do they do that. Anyway, we could go on and on and on. Just for the very fact of what they've done in the Middle East for decades, 60 years on, they need to be cut. I'm for that. Not a big fan of the United Nations. Um, no, NATO and 20 other organizations funding for those things would end. Again, I think President's getting us out of some deals and some things that have not been good for America. But we don't need NATO. We really don't. NATO needs us, and NATO has been teetering on, some of the nations within NATO has been teetering on the very edge of war themselves, dangling Article 5 in the wind as a carrot to other nations that they don't like, and because they know it's a little. Hello, Miss Elizabeth. Good morning to you. Great show last night. Appreciate your assistance, and you're the star. You're the star of the show. We couldn't do it without you. But the dangling of the carrot of Article 5 before the nations of the world that they don't like, it's, like I said, it's a little schoolyard little bully that can't back up things and expects the United States to come in and back them up, and that is not a good recipe for us. I do think that there's probably a time the nations of the world need to stand against evil. Yes, we've had to do that, but this whole idea of Article 5 is, in this day and time, may need to be rethunk. It may need to be, because it's the ones that can't back it up are the ones who are mouthing. And it only takes one nation. If you attack one, you attack all. And here we go. And this whole Ukraine-Russian war, which is bitter, ugly, it's not getting any better. It's getting worse, actually. It's only going to take, and thank goodness they didn't fast-track Ukraine into NATO. That's what they wanted. Remember those days? And then Biden was even NATO was seemingly, there was a couple of nations that were holding it up. Biden was trying to fast track Ukraine into NATO. And what a disaster that would have been if that had been allowed to happen. We could have found ourselves boots on the ground in a big way. And now, pretty much have said, I know that the president has said that's not going to happen. We're not going to vote them in. And there's another nation or two that is standing with us on that. There were two that had stood against it. And they were trying to apply pressure on them to fast track Zelensky's little demand to be in NATO. He was hanging on. That was his big, he was already getting the arms and the weapons and everything else. Then he was wanting to, sucker everybody into putting their militaries in his country and continuing the fight and take it to Russia. He was dangling, the patriotism before the world. Like we're all one brotherhood. We got to stop Russia. He's the one that continues the fight. But it's ugly. It's war. I don't like Russia's war machine. Never liked it. Never liked their invasion of other nations. And that's the big bear in the region. But at the same time, it's a superpower. It's a nuclear power. We do not need to be in war with them. And that's how close we came. I really fear if Biden had won a second term, I really thought that they were going to actually initiate that war before the election, just to throw us into that. And we'll just have to thank the good Lord above, because I don't think there was enough people with enough sense in and around that administration to stop that from happening. And there was full on, and some of our peace partners in NATO, some of the other big powers were seemingly talking war. It was really a scary time. There was a short time there where it looked as though we were going to be at war at any moment. And they were already talking about draft articles for the draft of the United States. They've been talking about it, throwing that out there. And I remember doing, morning MAGA minutes, I think it was very early on. One of them was about the draft, and the draft would include your daughters. Daughters would be included this time to get the numbers up. The numbers were bad. Our military numbers were down. They were not up. They're coming up now, but all the services were having recruiting problems. They were not prepared for war. And that's what Pete Hegseth and the Joint Chiefs and President is doing, is getting our military ready for war, and with the hope that we never have to go to war. But Biden was sure throwing us in there. So I'm for this cut. I'm for us scaling back some. We can still be involved. We can still flex muscles around the world, what we need to do. But I don't like the idea of some little country, and I'm not putting them down, but little country who may have some little, they may have a sizable little military for the size country they are, but them dangling threats out in front of Russia, and all it takes is one stray missile, one thing, and we're at war. And that is not a good feeling. And I feel like we're in a much better position right now. And I think that's what he is doing. He's also considering closing up to 36 U.S. diplomatic posts around the world. This is another one I'm for because, to me, they're a waste of time. They're an absolute waste of time. There's just places that we just don't need to be. It doesn't produce any kind of diplomacy. They don't listen to us. They never let us to the table. Our people are constantly under threat, and this will have to gain some approval of Congress, but it may or may not. But I understand that. I was listening to a guy on the radio. It was yesterday. Just a station I never listened to, but it popped on there, and I left it while I was listening to this guy, and he was talking about he had spent time going around the world teaching. He could teach 3 different subjects, and one of those was English. He also taught mathematics and I think some engineering. So he spent years going country to country and making money. Well, one of his assignments sent him to China, and unfortunately for him, COVID hit in China right as he was there. They pulled his passport. You know how China was doing, and he gave the inside look at that and how he was locked in his apartment. Now get this, for over 2 years. An American citizen for over 2 years. He talked about them coming and making announcements. They had to set up cameras on every street to make sure you were not coming out. They sent the people in suits and everything that dropped off supplies. Not near enough, but, enough to keep you alive. He actually taught some children balcony to balcony during that time. The people across the way they could go out on a balcony with a mask on, and they would take the kids out on the balcony. He would teach them there across the way. Remember this time, there was a lot of people that committed suicide. They couldn't take it anymore. After so long of being done like that, they just were doing nosedives from the top of buildings and stuff. They just couldn't take the pressure anymore. It just closed in on them. Well, they asked him, the reason I bring this up, they asked him, about family, and of course he missed home. He said, I love my home. I love America. But he said, I was enjoying myself in many countries. He said, this is the first time that I really got homesick. And he said, here I am, I'm trapped. He couldn't leave if he wanted to. He had no passport. They wasn't going to let him out. Anyway, they said, did you contact the U.S. Embassy? And he said, well, yeah, I did. I said, well, what did they say? He said, nobody was there. There's nobody there. They just didn't pick up the phone, or I don't know if they were there and didn't pick up the phone, or if they had removed them before then. But he had no hope. Anyway, he says that he finally got to leave. He said he barely had enough money to get home to America. He said he got to LAX, which I've been there. It's a massive airport. Got to LAX, and he said that he was standing in a long line of people that were coming in. And he said he said it must have been 200 or 300 people. And he was standing in this long line for customs. And he said that they hollered and said, are there any Americans here? Or any citizens, United States American citizens in this line? And this is a very patriotic moment. And he said, I never in my life raised my hand so far in the air as I did that day. He said they pulled him out and they were fast-tracking him through since he was a citizen. And he said he put his passport out, and the gentleman said, welcome back to the United States of America. And he said at that moment, he said it was the first time. He said, but I'd held all this in for all this time. He said I just burst out crying. He said I never will forget that feeling of patriotism, of love of country, as I had at that moment to be back in the nation as I did at that moment. It was a very powerful moment when I heard that, and I thought about that. And people travel around the world, and they go to places, and sometimes they have a false sense of well, things ain't so bad here. Things so bad here. It's just like a lot like America, no big deal. Things can change, and there is great power in knowing that you are a citizen of this great land, and it never more so right now. I think do we have patriotism that is flowing again in the nation. That's when the Trump administration was sworn in. I don't know how long we can keep that. I think patriotism is always there, but it's fleeting in some ways. Now, there are people who hate America, obviously, that live here, and citizens. It makes no sense. But for those of us that love this land, I think we can appreciate that story. And we could also appreciate how, I think that we do a lot of good in the world, mostly. Sure, there's hiccups. I get tired of people throwing up in their face. I don't care to hear it anymore. I never cared to hear it the first time, but I won't feel guilty about it. We've misstepped a few times. We've done a heck of a lot more good than we have misstep, and I'll stand on that. But we can do those things without being. My whole point in all that and saying that is that we can do all those things without being pulled in to an agreement, which pulls us into war at any moment. And there are major situations around the world that could pull the United States in that would kick in Article 5. Europe can deal with Europe. That's just the way I look at it. If we can assist them in certain ways, but this whole idea that America has to have bases all around the world in places where they need to be defending themselves. The bases we have around the world would be, to me, the benefit would be, does it promote safety and security for the United States of America? We have to think that way. We have to think of the home team first. We have to. We can't take care of the world and lose our home. I've said that before in ministry. You can't save the world and lose your own home, meaning you have to take care of your family. You have to take care of your marriage. And a lot of people in ministry have failed this. They get so busy trying to save the world, which is a great thing. Absolutely. It's the Great Commission to save the world, to take the gospel and go into the world and preach Christ crucified and the gospel and the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. Absolutely. It's the most wonderful thing. I'm honored. It's the greatest honor. But you can't lose your home in doing that. You have to take time for home. And we as Americans, we can't save the world and lose our home. And that's what's been happening. We're sending all these things around the world, which is mostly going into the pockets of the dictators and the rich and powerful, and the people are not seeing the benefit in most cases. There are some where it has worked. There's some places we have made a difference. But in many cases, the money is just being taken, the sport's just being taken, and we're being spit upon. And at the same time, it's like a Trojan horse. We're losing our nation. We're losing the soul of America. We're losing those things that are important to us as Americans and what it means to have citizenship and security and peace here in America. Our streets are war zones. We've got to take care of home. We're going around the world and talking about we're going to help violence in Africa or somewhere. It's all well and good, but we've got a war zone. We got war zones in America. Our streets are filled with gangs. Some of those with illegals. They're not supposed to be here. We've got people killing each other. We need to build up our defense at home. We're losing the soul of America, and we just have this great and wonderful country that we must take care of, and I think that that's starting to happen. But there's a lot of work that's got to be done. That's got to be done. So absolutely. Yes, Jake, I'll change that. Thank you, sir. How are you doing this morning? And to everybody else that's listening in, we have a few in this morning. We appreciate you being here. Thank you for your support of the Southern Fried Podcast and all of its programming. I so enjoy what we do, and I appreciate you enjoying something that we do. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was saying if I wanted to get into it, what were things I need to do? He's a very, I said, you project very well. I said, I imagine you would do very well. He said, what topics should I cover? I said, you should cover what you're passionate about. Don't try to, he said, well, you got to, he should, what should you be to other people? Shouldn't you be what they like? I said, they'll find you. 7 billion people in the world. You're going to find some people that like what you like too. Or they just like to laugh at you. That works too. Any updates on Kaylee's injury other than the fact she's still in a soft cast? No updates, and it hurts. She's been in pain, which tells me I'm pretty sure there is a break there. We're going to make the call today to set up the second x-ray with an orthopedic. We're going to have to call and get that set up. And yesterday was just too chaotic to get it done. We're going to call today and try to get that done for the hopefully Thursday or somewhere in there, or early Friday, because we're going to be leaving town Friday around lunchtime to head south. And I suspect at that point they're going to put her in a hard cast. Once again, bless her heart. But that's the update on Kaylee, who's been coming in the studio with me more. You've noticed that. She's getting comfortable. I may be in trouble. She will be pushing me away from the microphone here at Studio A as we broadcast by the banks of the Southern Fried River. She will begin taking over. She'll be telling me, no, Papa, that's not the way this works. You're not right about this. I can hear it now. I enjoyed the conversation last night. It got a little heated. We had a lot of fun with that. We have as many as we gave out. We have that many more. We'll have to revisit it again. Take a breath. It's great input by lots. I thought we were going to see a full-on division in Elizabeth's family. It was ready for some tar and feathering to go on. I think we ended on a positive note. Although there's that Jiffy thought is still out there, and cornbread. So I'm hoping that peace in the family, shalom in the home. Oh my goodness. Let's take a quick commercial, and then we come back. We're going to look at birthdays, a little bit more news, and whatever else, and I'll see if I can correct my banner. My Mississippi producer says, you got to fix it. And we will. Give me just a moment, Jake, and we'll take care of that. We'll be right back. It's Dave in the AM with the Southern Fried Patriot Morning Show. Hey, Southern Fried Podcast fans. This is Dave in the AM for the Southern Fried Podcast. We want to advertise for W, who's got some special things going on. So are you tired of those energy drinks that you drink and they give you the jitters and the crashes that come from the typical drink? Look no further than W Energy Drink. It's a revolutionary new beverage that will keep you energized without any of those downsides. For a limited time, folks, W is offering an incredible 30% off on everything they sell. That's right. You can stock up on your favorite flavors and save big while enjoying the smooth, sustained energy that only W can provide. I'm a customer member, and I can testify to this. I love this drink. No shakes, no crashes. And if it can help my mental acuity, I'm happy too. Awesome. They have a unique formula that provides you a perfect balance of focus and vitality without any of those unpleasant side effects that we don't want. No more of those shaking hands, crashing you in the middle of the day. Just pure clean energy to help you tackle any challenge that comes your way. But don't wait too long. This 30% offer won't last forever. Go on over to W's website now and start shopping. Remember to smash that promo code Southern Fried into the area where they ask you to put that in there, and it'll help us as well. You're still going to get the 30%, but it'll let them know that you are supporting us, and so we appreciate it today. So try W Energy Drink and experience the difference for yourself. Your body and mind will thank you for making the switch to the energy drink that truly delivers on its promises. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to save big and upgrade your energy game with W. Don't forget, use that promo code Southern Fried. And we're back. And Miss Elizabeth says never. I'm assuming that means never, never for the jiffy. Jake says, I'm eating tomatoes and rice. Oh, Jake. Oh, I like rice. I don't know about tomatoes and rice. I don't know that I could do that. Ouch. But I'm glad for you. It's not about me. It's about you. And I'm glad you're enjoying your morning meal as you're on an hour behind us, right? An hour? 1 hour behind us. So Jake's getting an early start, 5:35. Up and about early. Of course, he podcasts all day long, in and out, gets into different things. He's a busy man out there podcasting. Of course, we're going to work. It's a busy week at work, always a busy week, real busy this week. We're kind of stretched out a little bit, lots going on. Makes the days go by, though. Don't forget tonight, Southern Fried Racing Hour. Have a third member of the crew coming in, and looking forward to it. He's excited about it. He's got some family that I'm sure will be watching. Mr. James will be coming in, Southern Fried Racing Hour. Dave and Dean and James in the house. I was pulling some video last night, of which I need to get that set today and update some things for the show. And looking forward to talking racing, rubbing fenders. There's a lot of that at Bristol, the Bristol Motor Speedway, which the crowd looked decent. Certainly wasn't a sellout. We didn't think that it would be. I thought it might be just a little fuller, but it was a nice crowd. If I had to put a percentage on it, I'm going to say 65, 70%. I think that's fair. It could have been a little less, slightly more, somewhere in there. But it certainly wasn't 80% or even 75. Very, very, definitely less than three-quarter full. It could have been about 60. It was really hard to tell. The camera shots, they don't let you see the crowd too much. They're moving them so fast, and especially when it's not a sellout, they don't like to show the crowd too much. Of course, at Bristol, it's not hard. It's hard for them not to get seating shots in there. Just the nature of that racetrack. The last Coliseum. Oh, never to the family divide. Oh, yeah, I know. Never to the family divide. Your family can fight. They will never be divided. It's great to have a family that loves each other, and they can fight, but they'll join together always, and they'll fight others always, no matter what's going on. Stand together against the world. Never pick on one of ours. You'll pay for it. You will pay for the attacking our own. I told my granddaughters before, Jake, that is one of the most amazing statements. I can also say I don't think I've ever seen anybody join those things together. And I know he's just doing that as in a question. It's the way Jake's mind works. He throws things out there and can. But Jake says, "Do you have any wisdom for Easter? Easter this Sunday. It's also the national holiday for weed smokers. 420 is also for one of my friend's birthday. Well, happy birthday to your friend. I don't take part and never have and never will in 420. To each his own. I have no desire. The wisdom for Easter would be to go to church. greatest wisdom. Pretty simple, huh? Honor Easter by doing your best to be in church somewhere and honor this great and glorious event, no matter what time of season it occurred, when we honor it and go and exercise your faith and go and be among fellow like-minded believers. And if you're not a believer, become one. It's the greatest wisdom I could bring. Thanks for the question. Just never saw that like that. Jake says, oh, he's great to have around because he brings these things out sometimes that I wonder. It's just amazing. It makes me think. It's kind of like having a 13-year-old around. You just don't know. You never know what they're going to say. You never know how their mind's thinking and what they're all about. So Emma Watson is 34 years old today. Actress. On this date, Leonardo da Vinci was born April 15th. How about that? There's millions of people in the world. There's lots of people born every day. There's only 365 of them. Seth Rogen, 42 years old today. Chris Stapleton, country singer. I bet some folks listening probably like some Chris Stapleton. 46 today. 46 today. Then we have another Emma Thompson, another actress, 65 years old today. Maisie Williams, younger actress today, 27. Luke Evans, 45 today. 45 years old today. All these people are younger than me except for one. If there's anybody else that stands out today, we'll probably miss some, but there's some of your birthdays today on this April the 15th. That's about where I'll end that at. So if it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. Or if it's your anniversary, happy anniversary. Let's see. Yes. Jake says, by the way, if you want to give on the screen, there's a QR code right next to Dave's head. Yes, not too far ahead. It's a pretty big head. It's pretty easy to be pretty close to it. Click on the QR code to go buy me a coffee. Yes, that does work. Thanks to Miss Jenna for buying some things from the store. There'll be a lot more things available soon by way of the Southern Fried. So, yeah. We appreciate all the support again, like I said. Just by watching or listening or whatever you do. Another item in the news today, Obama appointed judge to shut down Trump's mass deportation plan for 500,000 across the entire U.S. He calls it pure lawless tyranny. Pure lawless tyranny. He blocks Trump from revoking legal status of 530,000 plus migrants who flew into U.S. via Biden program. The migrants came to the United States from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, through the controversial CHNV mass humanitarian parole program. Federal judge on Monday blocked the Trump administration from revoking that legal status and the work permits of more than 530,000 migrants from those nations. The migrants came under Biden's controversial plan. The judge's name was Indira Tawani. Indira Tawani, an Obama appointee, wrote that each migrant needs to have an individualized case-by-case review. The termination of parole processes for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans. 90 Federal Register 13611 of March 25th, 2025 is hereby stayed, pending further court order insofar as it revokes, without case-by-case review, the previously granted parole and work authorization issued to non-citizens paroled into the United States pursuant to parole programs for non-citizens from those nations prior to the non-citizens' originally stated parole end date. She wrote, Biden created the program in 2023 via his executive parole authority. Remember, that's when he just poured people into the United States, bragged about it. And yes, some of those people were picking fruits and vegetables and stuff. Not to say they're not needed, but there may need to be a review of it. I'm sure there wasn't much oversight on this because they didn't have oversight on nothing. Biden argued that this would help reduce illegal crossings at the southern border, allow better vetting of people entering the country amid an influx of migrants. Well, shut up. We don't care what you thought, Biden. The program was temporarily paused after widespread fraud was found. No surprise. Several recipients were also arrested for high-profile crimes, including multiple child rapes. The program allowed the migrants and their immediate family members to fly to the U.S. If they had American sponsors. They could then remain in the country for 2 years under a temporary immigration status known as parole. Officials of the Department of Homeland Security and the Trump administration said Talwani essentially ruled that Trump can't use his own executive authority, the same authority Biden used to revoke the parole that Biden granted. He said it's pure lawless tyranny, a Trump administration official told Fox News. I suspect that this will be removed. This appeal will go to the U.S. Supreme Court. He has that authority. They cannot like it. Why would you have a case-by-case review when you didn't have one to bring them in on a case-by-case review? The 2-year program would end anyway soon. I think he can do it. I'm sure he'll appeal for a quick decision from the U.S. Supreme Court. I think he wins that. I think that's a valid point. If people, whether they like it or not, just looking at it straight on from the law, if you have the authority to bring them in that way, to grant the parole, you should have the same authority to take away the parole. Makes sense to me. Judges going rogue. We need a, they had the Girls Gone Wild, Judges Gone Wild. We need that one. Because it seems that around the country, we have judges that have just went wild, doing whatever they want to do and making these crazy decisions. And in almost every single case, the United States Supreme Court is overruled and made them stand down. DOGE delivers another win for taxpayers' wallets after doing a deep dive into the VA systems, Veterans Administration. A lot of waste. It's amazing how much waste is going on. That's just some of the news items this morning. That's amazing. Amazing. Also saw the video of people I thought it was funny. Jeff Bezos falling when his Blue Origin craft landed with fiance Katy Perry aboard. He's running around it. He does the full-on face plant. He kind of puts his arms out. I guess he didn't quite hit his face. I'm watching the video now, but he got in a big hurry. It's never good to be in a hurry when you're running around your spacecraft. Bad things can happen. Rich man games. Oh, the playgrounds of the rich. But you know what? Whether you're rich as snot or poor as dirt, if you're running around something and you hit a hole, if you're not watching, you could be on the ground too. Gravity is no respecter of person. The same things that happens to the rich and the poor in these things. There's no getting away from it. Oh, he's an in shape kind of guy. He bounced right back up. He's okay. His pride probably took a little hit. He was probably trying to get to that, he wanted to be the first one, It's my spacecraft. I paid for it. Well, really, I guess you could say those that rode paid for it, but his fiance was in there. So it's my spacecraft. I'll do as I want to. He was singing as he ran around to get in the camera shot, and then he almost face planted. He did fall. Pretty good fall. We're glad he's okay. Remember, we only laugh if they're okay. There are some people that would laugh even if they weren't okay. But we're not doing that here at the Southern Fried Podcast. We're not going to do it. Wait a minute, I just laughed. Jared Barrett. Jared Barrett says, it sure isn't a respecter of person. I don't bounce like I used to. It hurts. I fell here about a month ago in the house. My granddaughter comes running in the living room. She says, "Are you okay, Papa?" It's like, no. Just help me up. As I mouthed under my breath, I pray nothing's broke. At that moment, I wasn't sure. I hit my hip and my side really hard. Whew. Yeah, I remember when Kaylee was at the hospital and they asked her, "Did you put your hand out to brace yourself?" Which, and I don't know why that. I mean, I know they're just take the X-ray. I mean, it's like this investigative thing, like, well, how did you get hurt? Well, I fell on my skates. Did you put your hands out to break your fall? Is that what happened? It don't matter how it happened. She fell. And so they and Kaylee goes to the doctor, the ER doctor. Kaylee goes, "I honestly couldn't tell you what I did. It was over before I even realized I was falling." There's that, and we get older, I think it slows down. It's proven there's a little bit of time before your brain sends a signal. It's like if you fall off a ladder that's 6 foot tall, you might not even know you're falling until after you're on the ground. Your brain has to tell you, "Hey, this is going to hurt." You get that message about a split second after you've hit the ground, and the ouch and the ow is coming, and your brain says, "Oh, this is going to hurt." Jerry says for a long time. Celtic Blacksmith, good morning to you. I don't bounce at all. I just splatter like a blob of pancake batter. That's a unique way to put it. Are you kidding me, Jerry? Wow. Jerry's youngest granddaughter fell Saturday and broke her arm. So Kaylee was Friday. Jerry's was Saturday. Something going on. Celtic Blacksmith. Now, when I fall, I like to pin my arms back and headbutt the ground to establish dominance. Yeah, take that, you ground. I ain't scared. I'll take it on. Good morning, Spartan. I'll take on the ground. I'm going to lose this battle anyway, but I want the ground to know I'm there. My wife fell Saturday. Thank goodness didn't break her arm or anything else. I go in there to get her. The granddaughter comes running in. I can only imagine what she's telling her friends. Say, I fell, she's fell, grandma's fell. She says, "Are you okay?" I know it was out of great concern, but she says, "Nanny, are you okay?" The look on my wife's face was like, "Are you kidding me?" She's just shaking her head like, "No." She busted her eye up real bad. I mean, bless her heart, of coming yesterday. Like I said, she was crying. Her eye was hurt so bad. It's bruised up. I mean, it's a bad bruise. Celtic Blacksmith, by the way. I saw that Facebook reel that Miss Liz wanted. Got to send you a link to a YouTube video of the same thing from a different guy. That was actually an inspiration for my channel style. Wow. That was actually. She's going to send you a different one. Awesome. I did like that. That was pretty cool looking. Jerry Barrett, she sat in church holding it. So when I looked at it, I told her mom to get it x-rayed. Sure enough, it was broke. Yeah. I got hurt playing sports in middle school. My mom said, do you think we should get, back in the day, I mean, we tend to run a little bit quicker to these things. My dad was all hardcore, shake it off, boy. So I was hurting bad. He's like, it'll get better. It'll get better. This went a couple of days. I got hurt at school. Well, I was carrying in some things from the store, and I was hurting bad. And my dad, he says, come here, son. And he looks at my arm and he goes, you're going to have to take him to the ER. He has broke a bone. It was pushing through this. It was trying to push through the skin. He could see that. Sure enough. But that was two or 3 days after, So I understand. I saw that, Spartan. Yes, Carmelo Anthony did walk out on a $250,000 bond. The house arrest the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf. There's a lot of people lining up behind him, thinking he's, innocent, railroaded, whatever. Controversial. But I will say this, Spartan. Sometimes murderers do get bond. That's up to a judge. What I say a while ago, judge has gone wild. I think a person like that should be in jail till their trial. So I understand. But that is the system we have, and a judge can grant that. We don't always agree on these ideas of bail. Celtic Blasphemous, that'd be the absolute worst quality axe it'd be the absolute worst quality axe you ever used, just a step above tinfoil. Oh, really? That would be bad. Jerry Barrett says, I broke my ankle in high school while acting stupid. Boy, we got a bunch of that signage to go around. And my dad just asked me if I learned anything. Gotta love your dads. Well, I broke my nose really bad. I had a bike wreck when I was 6 years old, my birthday. Aunt and uncle bought me a new bike. Had the store put it together. The store didn't put the handlebars on correctly, meaning they came loose. The handlebars came off the bike. I was in 2 sections. Handlebar, bike. Wiped out. Face planted. That's why I look this way. 6 years old. It was a bloody mess. Broke my nose. That's a bad pain when you get busted like that. That's why in a fight, if you can hit that nose, fight's over. My dad comes down the street to get me. He's carrying me home. Every neighbor on the street is out. The women screaming, crying. Oh my God, is he dead? Is he okay? I can hear all this. And I'm just sitting here going, ow, oh, I got blood all over me. There's blood over my dad. And they were hollering and they would say, oh, no, Jake. No, Jake. Appreciate you, producer, man. But no, Rob is not here this morning. Dave might go 3 minutes over. Anyway, the neighbors, just to be a rebel, Jake, the neighbors are going, is he alive? Is he dead? My dad's like, yeah, he's alive. He just busted his nose. And a whole way, every step hurt, every step home, as they carried me to the hospital. I was getting ready to take me to the hospital. But every step, my dad's going, I told you not to be riding down that hill. That's what you get. Tell you what, my dad was tough. I was like, I know. I was thinking, I wanted my dad to carry me home, but then I wanted my mama. Dad was just too tough. He was like, you know what? This wouldn't be happening if you had just listened to me. I guess you'll listen from now on. Yes, I understand. That was the first time I ever went into surgery. Scared to death. I go into the surgical room. They put the gas on me, the mask. and I'm afraid that I'm going to be. I'm going into panic. My fear is I'm going to be awake for the surgery. I can see all of them getting ready. They got all the gowns on, the masks. They're getting all the tools ready. I am petrified. Yes, Spartan, I agree. We concur on that. I do think the judge should be arrested. The doctor looks over and says, "Are you still awake?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, we can fix that." He reaches up to my little mask, clicks the button. That's the last I remember. Oh, woke up with wonderful bandage things up my nose. That's a wonderful feeling, right? Not. 3 days later, 2 days later, whatever it was, I don't remember. He comes in to take them out. Now I'm going to share this story before I get off the air. This is Dad's. Jerry Barrett will get this. This is my dad. Love my dad. He's in heaven. Love my dad, and he loved me, but he was tough. This is my dad. My dad's thinking. He wanted. It was a Saturday. My dad said he's ready to go home. They said, "Well, he can't go home. The doctor has to pull out the packing." My dad says, "You call that doctor on whatever golf course he's on and tell him to get his blank in here and get this done so we don't get charged for another 2 days or another day of a hospital bill." That's my dad. And how many dads would be like that? A bunch. And especially in that generation. Oh, my dad pitched a fit. I could hear him all over the hospital. I was in a ward, by the way. I wasn't in even a semi-private room. I'm in a ward with like 20, 30 other kids. My gosh, I was ready to go home. I wanted to be out there. They let the moms stay. It was a ward full of kids and moms. And anyway, but the guy comes in and he's mad at my dad. So he comes at me. He's angry. He sticks that equipment up my nose and he jerks that packing out. And it felt like my brains come out my nose. I screamed. I grabbed my nose. He comes at me again. And I said, "No way." I was a shy little kid. I said, my dad was standing there and I said, "No way." And the doctor says, "I got to get out." I said, "No, you're a mean doctor. You're mad." And I said this. I said, "You're mad at my dad and you're taking it out on me." And it hit him like a ton of bricks. And my dad, boy, I made my dad mad right there. And then, I thought we was going to have a fight right there. I just fired my dad up and he softened up and he said, "Hey, listen, son, I got to get that out of there. Infection will take over." He said, "I promise I'll be as gentle as I can and fast as I can, but I got to get it out before you go home." And I said, "All right, I'll let you do it." But I was mad. Yes, viewer discretion is advised. Absolutely, Jake. Yeah, Spartan, I think that would work. About 12 months for letting the killer go free. Yeah, 12 months in a federal prison. That Atlanta penitentiary would be a great one. I could go with that. That's a great jail for people to go to, Club Med. Not. That's one of the worst prisons in America, the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. No, I've never been there. I've only read the stories. Well, Jake says I got to get off here. So I did go 3 minutes after. See, I'm a rebel. I'll have grandkids knocking on the door soon. I do have to go to work. Don't forget tonight is the Southern Fried Racing Hour. And we will have another program behind that at some point. And yes, tonight, guaranteed, unless Jesus takes me home or the world burns down, we will have the Jeb and Bubba show release. Yes, that will happen tonight. We'll be active and alive tonight. Much. We'll see you tonight. Y'all have a great day out there. Thanks for everybody being here. Have a great day. Enjoy the kids out there, Miss Elizabeth. Celtic Blacksmith. Go do some machinist work. Don't let your pants rip today. But if you do, I know that you're okay. You're okay in your manhood. You're okay if it happens. Miss Elizabeth is secure in the knowledge that her family will never be divided. Jake is solid in the information that he can eat tomatoes and rice. And South Ozman is confident in the fact that it is nighttime in Australia, if he's still listening in. Thank you. Thank you, those in Instagram, those in Rumble, X, Twitch, wherever you're coming from today. God bless you this day. Salute. We'll go out with some music, and we'll see you tonight. Pray for us. We'll pray for you. Let's think of the missionary that's been, it is a ransom, by the way. The ransom has came in. So y'all pray for them. I don't know what the ransom is, but y'all pray for this dear missionary, his family, church in South Africa. Sad story. I hope he's okay. He'll be okay eternally, but I know he's hoping to spend some more time with his family here doing the work that he does for the Lord. And I really hope that he's okay. Y'all take care. We'll see you tonight.